Hi
The
guys,
story
back more
goes,
Disco Elysium.
anecdotally, they
This
were,
one.
RC's dad did not pass the medical
Action.
for the season, and then ultimately they got replaced with John and Candace last second, which
What?
results in one of the reasons why Candace gets voted out here on the mat, which is a great segue to talk about. All right, AJ, we have a vote. We get the tribes together on the beach, and we vote somebody out of the
what
game.
did I hear?
You know, we've seen this in different ways in terms of, you know, in Survivor Token Sheens, they vote who's the weakest, and then they
we
get
didn't
an
have anything
advantage.
there at
But
all.
here,
Okay.
this is like shades of Wanda and Jonathan, where the person who gets voted out is
this?
out of the game, or Officer Redemption Island.
Yes, yeah, like I understand because you want to get Redemption Island in real quick as soon as episode 2. So I understand since that's going to be a big part of your season, you want to get that into the season really quick. So get 2 people off day 1, you get that real fast. But I really enjoyed it, and first impressions for quote unquote first impressions make a very big deal. Even though I don't know if that's why Candace got voted out because of first impressions. Well, it might have been because it was first impressions. Well, maybe it was.
You hear people like teens say, like, yeah, I just, I really don't know you. I
found that funny, considering Candace is a 3-time player.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't get a chance to pregame with you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
So, yeah, you would think that Colton would be the person who would be the biggest target on that vote, but I think he did do a good job of pre-gaming with people.
Yeah, I think the main issue here is, like, you can tell that
then when do we do that other thing?
hate that Rupert was voted off, or that he switched with Laura, and I'm like, if you didn't want that to happen, you shouldn't have done this twist.
Well,
I told them.
If you didn't want it to happen, you shouldn't have been like, Rupert, you're a fan favorite, one of the most beloved people. You love your wife, such a heroic thing to do. Now, are you going to do that or not? And it's like, you brought him up to do it.
Yeah.
So why are you upset that he did it?
Would it have been better if they said, okay, Candace, Laura, you're off to Redemption Island, and then when they go to the duel, they say, now is your chance if you want to switch with them. Because then at least you get a chance to feel it out. Rupert gets to see how everything's going. His tribe realizes, hey, maybe we don't need Rupert after he set up the shelter. Let's swap him out.
You know, I think that we always talk about how that Survivor and Big Brother need to do a better job of, like, telling the players the rules up front, so that I do think that it would be a little hypocritical of us to say that they should tell them down the road instead of telling them up front what the rules of the game are going to be. So I didn't have a big issue with that. I definitely can see why the show was frustrated that Rupert, who they consider to be one of their stars,
of course,
leaving and being the first person voted out. And Jeff is going to bring this up again in the reunion show.
Yeah, but Rupert, like, that is why Rupert's your star, because he's going to be the kind of guy who's going to swap out with his wife. Like, if Rupert doesn't do this, we don't get anyone doing this, probably. So, in some ways, like, count your blessings that you got that much in the same way that Candace voting out, or not Candace, Sierra voting out her mom, like, you know, made the season for Jeff or whatever, made it worth it. It's kind of the same thing. If you really want
I'm just looking this up.
you need someone on
so speedrun of this game's in like 35 minutes? That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Rupert does it. We get a couple people who contemplate it, but I don't know. I mean, I like Rupert in his first 2 times around. And he is an old school player, and it was fun to see him, but I don't remember being particularly sad when this aired, this happened.
Yeah, I think there was some Rupert fatigue. I think that he becomes the first person to Rob had played 4 times, I think, by then, and so he became only the second person, I think, to play 4 times. So I think that there was a little bit of Rupert fatigue as he became the second member of the 4-timers club. Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay. And then Candace ultimately ends up being the person to get voted out. And
I both played 4 times now. We got Rob, Rupert, Ozzy, Suri, and then who joined the Winners at War?
Rupert and Candace spend a lot of time together in Heroes vs. Villains, so it's sort of like that they're
Parvati Tyson?
And I love that she
still
dislikes him. Like, just as much.
Does not care for him. Yeah.
Yes,
so this is Ethan played 3 times. Amber's played 3 times. Sandra played 4 times.
Woolly Mammoth wanted to stand in the water, and and I thought that was hilarious. I also like Tina being like, Rupert, you're a good person. Ignore your wife. Come back to me.
This is a
Like, come back to us. We need you.
Fuck all. What the fuck is
Right.
that?
Well, Agent, when they go back to Tadhana, like, there's a lot of people like, boy, we were really looking forward to playing with your husband, Laura.
So disrespectful. Like, you say that in confessional. You don't say this to the woman's face. You don't be like, yeah, you're here, but it was better if your husband was here.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
I feel for Laura throughout this season too, because like she's no
Danny's only
genius
played
Survivor
twice.
player,
Will's
but
only
she,
played twice.
like, it seems to be just kind of a classic. She's just kind of not clicking with these people, but I don't think she does anything that's, besides her boot episode, I don't think she does anything that's like wildly horrible gameplay or
Yeah,
like
so I
being
guess
like
that's it,
deserves
right?
to be the pariah. She's just not Rupert, and she happens to be stuck on a tribe with all returning players. So
Like,
kind of
that,
stinks.
like, Laura's the one who's like, I know this later on in the season, but she's the one that's like, listen, Venus is charming and stuff, but if we need to take that out right now because that's a threat later on. So I was like, look at you, Laura.
Yeah,
Alright,
I
let's
think
try
there's
this
a pretty
again.
big disconnect
I thought I
between,
actually even
like,
need to
what
do this,
Laura
but I just
says
forgot
in
to.
her confessionals that all
Thank
come across
you.
like pretty smart and seems to be like on the uptake versus her actual one-on-one conversations.
Yeah, for Laura to be out there, like, I feel like that when Survivor, especially when we bring back, like, returning players, like, I feel like that there's, like, this idea of, like, I think of them sort of like superheroes, that there's, like, this idea of exceptionalism, of that these are all people with superpowers. And then Laura was just somebody who was like a mere mortal
There's
amongst
only one
the
officer,
other people. Like, I'm
motherfucker.
sure she's like a perfectly neat lady in real life, but she doesn't seem to have any sort of like noticeable skill set that would make her, you know, stand out in any way amongst the other survivors.
Let me stop you right there, Cindy. You have
Yep.
Yeah.
Not really. Like,
Neat lady though.
she's good in the water. She is really good in
She's a
the
good
water.
swimmer.
She was. There are a couple swimming and diving challenges where I noticed like, oh, she's got her and Rupert have the same diving swimming gene that I do not have, but it's very impressive to watch.
It's almost as if they go to the same watering hole.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess if you're
You know,
not
I don't think
Rupert,
I'm
you probably
about
do,
this, but we'll reload the
know a
save
thing or
then.
two about swimming in the water. So in the first episode, it's very clear. Brad Culpepper that he's going to work on putting his group together. Brad does put his foot in his mouth in the setup in the Matt chat when he talks about how he's going to be conflicted about if Monica has a chance to win a tarp. Well, maybe he wants Monica to have a tarp, and Marissa says like, wait, hold on, what are you gonna say? You're throwing the challenge? And then so he wants to set the record straight on that, but ultimately, you know, this makes a impression on Brad that Marissa might be having it out for him, and ultimately Brad is going to be going to work on trying to unite the men of the tribe together to get something going.
Yes, I feel like Marissa just spoke out against Brad, and that was it for Marissa. Brad was like, okay, I see you. And even in the voting thing, she voted for Brad too. Which
Like, what's the actual
like, this
main
guy's saying,
objective again? Oh yeah, we need to head back,
bro,
right?
I'm trying to stay safe. Get out of here. So I understand it from Marissa's point of view. I like that from her.
Yeah.
Little pause. I don't like her speaking out about it. So
We need more money though. We literally need 5 more cents to be able to pay
Yeah,
off.
look at her role model. That's her uncle is, you know, this very same episode with the "Don't Let That Fool You." So, you know, that I think it might be something that, you know, she's like learn from the best.
Learn from the best.
Mm-hmm.
The best zero
This
profilers. We got this.
Yeah.
A faint stick
Yeah,
on the side rings.
I wish she didn't speak so much, but even if she didn't say that, I don't know how long she would have lasted in this season, especially because of what Jervis does later. I don't know how much I buy it, but you know, that's the story they're selling me. So
Yeah.
I get it, but I think Brad is like
This is so dumb.
probably the person that hits the beach fastest. Like, I need to clear my name, I need to get in this alliance, I need to get control real fast, and I'm like, I like that from him. That is what I like from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
You see a sense
with
of time tracks in the brown slash
Brad
that covers
tells
the
us here
ground.
in the start of this
The time
episode
tracks were
when he's
left
going
in
into the
light
famous, you know,
unknown.
Culpepper
Some
math,
of that
five
rubble stuck
five
to the top,
into
and then
9 is in,
accelerated straight into
4
the
into
ground.
9
The driver
is out.
proceeded to back
That
up before
Survivor
heading south.
Caramoan
Must have
looms
been
large over this cast, where
Maybe.
Brad says, you know, look, nowadays on Survivor, John Cochran and, you know, the weak women, those are the biggest threats now. So we need to stick together and make sure that those types of players aren't going to get far in this game.
Not to mention the fact that he's telling this to Hayden, who just comes off winning a season, spoilers, winning a season of Big Brother, where what they did was form an all-guys alliance in the beginning.
Yep.
So, wow, look at that. Yeah, the whole guy-girl split thing here, whether or not it's, I mean, sure, it's originally decided by Brad, but even after Brad leaves the game, the rest of the guys stick to it for a while too. Like, that whole situation is, it's not like the most fun thing to watch as a woman personally.
Yeah.
I get it. I think it's pretty funny that he says that, but I did look back and I go, well, okay, let's see. Season 26, Cochran, 25, Kim, 24, Denise, 23, Sophie. Like, he's not wrong when he's talking about facts here. It's just, I don't think that anyone would say that those women who won were weak in any sense of the word. I think it's kind of a discounting way to state the gameplay that happened.
And Marissa is the least weak of any of the women on this tribe, and she goes first. Yeah.
Sure. I do think, though, that it's something that both Kim and Austin Rob have said, though, is like, you are trying to make an alliance. Sometimes you just want any reason to pull people together. And if your reason is, look, there's more guys than girls on this tribe, and look at these past winners, we need to get these people out, like, you know, it could be religion, it could be the fact that you like pizza. You just bring people together for those reasons.
I have like issues with the first episode. A lot of it surrounding Brad Culpepper. I feel like he is a big time microaggressor this season. Talking about only people win this game now are weak women and Cochran, who's a weak man. Even though Kim Spradlin won the most immunities her season, Sophie is not a slouch. Denise was not a slouch. And then he was saying stuff like, we need to keep the strong people on our tribe together, and all the women are the weaker ones, but us guys are the strong ones. Then he was saying stuff like, well, we need a 5-guy alliance. Well, it's not a 5-guy alliance. It's a 4-guy alliance and a gay guy. And then uttering Caleb. So I think Brad Culper did not say some good stuff, and I see this throughout his entire stay on the island. Like, each episode he would say something that's like, oh, that's not okay. I get it, like, find commonalities of why you should fit together. I think that's another reason why Marissa goes, which is why I'm excited for this diversity pledge. See, like, more people of color, considering she's the only black woman on the season. Like, what is happening? That is not okay. She was basically set up to be a social outcast, especially considering, like, the other girls, they have someone to vouch for it. But it's not because Marissa's, like, bad socially. Candace both on redemption. Like, there was something wrong with this tribe and this setup that was, like, not okay. If you catch my drift.
Yes, definitely. And even like amongst the Five Guys Alliance, like who is the first guy that's on the outs in the Five Guys Alliance is that when it gets down to it, you know, Brad is throwing out, you know, tells the women like, all right, Caleb, it's gonna be Caleb tonight that we're gonna ultimately end up voting for. So that, you know, like Brad, I do think that has a lot of good qualities, but I think that there are a lot of things that he could have done better here in this season as he goes along. And I think that Brad, you know, you do see like that the relationship between him and Monica and how he's willing to do anything for Monica. And I do think that like by the end of the season, like I think he sort of like ends up like sort of admitting like, you know, I got just like way too aggressive in trying to be a shield for Monica and turned into an anchor with the way that he was acting. And I do think that, you know, he has like a bit of redemption when he comes back and plays a second time in Survivor Game Changers.
Like, Monica even talks about, like, oh, at home he's such a good person, he's such a good guy, you don't know the Brad like I know Brad. And I believe wholeheartedly he could be a good person, but just because you're a good person don't mean you are perfect, and you could make mistakes. You could be making really bad mistakes, but that does reflect on you, but you can still make changes to be a better person. Like you said, in Game Changer, it seems like he became a better person after seeing how he was viewed on TV during this season, because he was not viewed positively, so...
Yeah, that he does have other, you know, positive times in Survivor Game Changers. Also, like, had a lot of issues also with Michaela in Survivor Game Changers as well. That he was at odds with her. So, you know, there's, you know, a lot there with Brad Culpepper. So, going back to the first
Let's
challenge,
pay off the thing
we
first.
see that it's Jervis who's struggling in the first challenge, and somehow we have the battle of the moms versus the daughters, Mary, and so the Tadhana tribe ends up coming back, and with the help of Tina and Tina and Laura, they end up beating their daughters to win the puzzle, and Jervis is like exuberant of, don't let that fool you, and it doesn't go over great with the Galan group.
What were we fooled about? That's my question. But yeah, it doesn't go over great. It's definitely going to factor widely into the reason that, or at least one of the supposed reasons why Marissa's going to end up being vote here. It's not a great look, and I think that you're only going to get this coming from Jervis, who, look, not to like, I know that some people are probably very, very close with their uncle-niece relationships, but out of all the relationships you have here, uncle and niece really, it's not, you know, Tina's not going to yell across, oh yeah, my daughter, let me put her in a bad spot. Like, Jervis is the only one who's not going to be thinking about, like, how is this going to affect my loved one, probably, based on that relationship. But, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, it's funny, it's iconic. It's something that I'm always surprised was only in the first episode, because it's so memorable. But yeah, this is where we start getting some of that, hey, you know, the loved ones don't realize that when they're winning, we're losing. And we've got we're holding all your loved ones hostage over here, and we can at any point let one of them go. So
I watch sports sometimes, and I have a team I root for sometimes. And when they do something good, like win the game, sometimes I like to biggin up my chest as well and be like, that's how we do it. Yeah, and all that good stuff, even though I ain't do nothing to contribute to them winning. And I feel like that's what Jervis did. I contributed nothing, but we still won. That's my team. So I understand, like, in the heat of the moment, why you, like, do that, but that's still just a bad look. I don't condone it because it was a bad move, but I was like, I get it.
Looks like the circus left
so
town.
we're gonna see the group come together. Marissa is voted out unanimously at the first tribal council. She puts her vote on Katie, which I think that was trying to say, okay, that was somebody who was weak and held us back in the challenge, and so we're gonna see Marissa join Rupert and Candace over on Redemption Island. Anything else from the premiere?
Nope, they go ahead and give the losing tribe fire as well, so that's nice. Everybody's gonna be drinking and eating. This is another reason I think it feels like a lighthearted season is because it's a really cushy season.
Yes.
There's not too much bad weather, and there's not, everybody seems pretty well fed the whole time.
Jeff mentions it in the reunion show to Colton about how this is one of the best seasons we've ever had. I'm trying to remember if we even had like a bad rainstorm along the way.
Not that I can remember.
Question mark?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I know they do have some bad weather in Cagayan, which is in the same location. They have like a really bad storm, I think, in the second or third episode of that season, and a couple other ones along the way. But yeah, to speak of, I can't really remember any particularly bad weather here in Survivor Blood versus Water, which is extremely fortunate.
Yeah, seems like the season to be on, if he could have chosen one.
Yeah.
Not according to Colton.
Yes. Okay. Well, yeah. Colton is not going to be loving what's happening here at the Tadhana tribe, and so it's very interesting for me, having watched the two Aris seasons back to back here, because that we see this tribe of Tadhana, which it looks like that very much that Aris is the leader. It's talked about a lot, and so whereas Kasaya was sort of like the dysfunctional, functional tribe. This tribe, at least on its surface, AJ, seems like very, very functional, very kumbaya, and Colton is not having it.
It very much is. I think he sees a lot of people just laying around, chilling, living their best life, giving each other massages, singing songs by the campfire. That's what we do on Survivor, right? This is like basically camp. And I think Colton was not having it. He likes, according to Colton, he likes chaos.
Yes.
But I think that shows like more of the good players this season, because you already have Aris and Dylan like rounding up the troops so that way he has a majority in his tribe. So it's like, play better. Like, you don't have to be doing crazy things for the game to move, and the game is moving. It's just moving like nicely, so we can have peace while we're still safe.
Mary,
Okay.
Colton claims that he thrives in chaos. Is that true?
Have we seen Colton thrive, really? I mean, I think with Colton, it's like, it's pretty classic. If you're on Survivor and you feel like you're stuck on a kumbaya tribe where nobody's doing strategy, that just means you're not included in the strategy. I don't know if there's really been any time on Survivor where you have, besides like the first couple seasons, where there's been a tribe where no one is strategizing and there isn't a leader and there isn't power. You're just not in it, Colton. And so people telling you that, oh, we're not talking strategy, let's just sit back and worry about that later, they're talking a little bit. We're going to see that then people are going to make an alliance. I don't know if it's this episode or the next one, but that's when the 5-person alliance is going to come out anyway. Like, it's happening, but Colton's just not a part of it. The Aris being the leader thing reminds me a little bit of China, where you've got, like, you know, the Amanda and Todd equivalent being like, yeah, let's just let whoever it is, Aaron, I think, like, let's just let them be the leader, and then we'll just sit back here, we'll do all the thinking. And it's kind of a similar scenario, especially when it's this early on. Yeah, you don't want to be seen as a leader.
So do you feel like that it was that Tyson and Jervis sort of like ceded the leadership to Aris here, like intentionally, with that same sort of idea of that you hear Todd and Amanda talk about?
Yeah, I think on Survivor, especially in the beginning, you want to be a helpful hand. You want to be a worker bee. You want to be someone who's open to hearing strategy without being the one starting those things. I mean, it can work for you for a little while. We see it work for Brad for a little while to be the leader, but it's going to eventually put too big of a target on your back. So you need to kind of, you know, wait a little bit. You can't wait that long, but wait a little bit before you come out strong. And it's all about, like, who's in charge, and then who has the appearance of being in charge, and those are not always the same thing. And so I think Tyson and Jervis had a good grasp on what was happening at all points in time, and they realized, we're winning, we can kind of buddy up and sit back and make relationships for a little while, let Colton run around trying to do strategy, let Monica get paranoid, and let Aris be the leader, and have Laura and thinking that, you know, that her being with Aris makes them a leadership pair, but now we know what's going on.
Yeah. AJ, as I was watching the season play out today, that I was noticing that I feel like that Tyson does to Aris what Jervis needed to do to Tyson, where that I feel like that both Tyson and Jervis are sort of like the vice presidents of the tribe, and they come up with this coup to ultimately, you know, take Aris out and then install Tyson in power. And I think that Jervis needed at some point to, you know, I think this was his plan, but I think he just waited too long to ultimately then have a coup on Tyson and install himself as being in charge.
I think the problem with Jervis is like, I need to do a coup. And that's what he's thinking. But Tyson was like, I need to do a coup and make sure once the coup is done, I'm in a good position. I'm not the next one out. I'm got these little cushions under my butt, right? But Jervis was just like, I don't know when's the right time to do it, and I didn't know if with Hayden and Caleb, if they would not just turn around and vote me out. That's why you need to like forge that relationship with Hayden and Caleb. Make sure that Hayden and Caleb feels good with you. So when you do take out Tyson, like, you're in a good position. So I think it is 100% right. Tyson does what Jervis should have done this season. And I think there was some luck involved with what Tyson did, but I think Tyson took the luck and like did the best work he could with. what it.
Fascists
Yeah.
are known to
Okay,
be neat
we are
I
gonna
feel
get
like a real
our
detective right now, Harry.
first
Am I getting this right?
Redemption Island duel. Rupert ends up
you're
going
too
out.
kind, Harry.
Candace
Way
has
too
the
kind.
opportunity to
By now,
give a
I'm
clue
sure
to
you've
the
figured
hidden
out
immunity
who the
idol.
dead
Mary, we
man
haven't
was
talked
working
about this
for.
yet. This is
The
another
bad
big
guys.
twist, and again,
Wild
another thing that I think that is
Sent
lacking
to scare
in
us.
Survivor
Another
San Juan del
violent
Sur
measure of the
with
top
the
hats
missing
against
Redemption
the flat
Island
caps.
of, okay, give a clue to anybody in your game. Candace gets the ball rolling
Harry,
with
this
giving the
strike is
clue
the
to her
culmination of
baby,
many,
to John.
many mistakes made by the
And
Wild
this puts a
Times
target on
They tried to
John's
shut the
back,
strike down by
ultimately,
sending
that
in
people
armed
think he has the
mercenaries.
idol, he doesn't share the clue with enough people. It's going to be a big reason why he gets voted out
A
in
security
the next
contractor?
episode.
Can you
But
imagine that?
I forgot how
Workers
much
standing
the
in-
idol clue
performs a motion
really
as if
stirred the
spraying
pot
bullets
here
from a
in the
shield.
pre-merge of this season.
Yeah, it's really interesting how they do it
I'm
because
talking
it's the
beast.
first time we're
Hardened
getting,
killers from proxy
besides
wars in
auctions, like
Elysium,
really
Seminine,
obvious
Santa
idol
Maria.
clues. I
You
think,
name it,
has
they've
anyone,
done it.
besides like winning
Raping,
it openly in a
killing,
challenge where they
burning
say the
villages,
winner is getting a
killing
clue to the
little
idol? I don't know if
children
we've
for the
ever had
Seminar Pineapple
a thing
Company,
like
Harry.
this before, where someone's getting it. We're gonna see
And get it in
later
the
on.
auction, yeah.
Yeah, later in the auction. We're gonna see
Everything
later
they
on
did
there'll
there,
be
they
challenges
brought
where,
everything.
they say
They want to
first
turn
person to
Rebel
jump
Salt
in,
into a third
whatever
world
goes
slammer.
against this.
Honestly,
And well, in
the
those
only thing they
scenarios,
didn't
like
do
with
is kill the
Steven
village
and
elephant.
Spencer, like
Sure.
definitely puts a target on their back.
And that had just
So-
happened in Survivor Caramoan with Andrea and Brett also.
Right, and so I think I'm more intrigued by the way that they combat this by when they start throwing the clues in the fire, because that's something that I've said before. Like, if you're given an idol or an advantage fast, just and publicly, just use it that first time, because it's going to be a bigger target on you. It's not really worth it. Don't go for it. Now, if John can't literally tell Candace, no, don't give it to me, and when it's the first one, you think, oh, here, I'm helping you, this is fine. But then John doesn't share it with his alliance, and so I think that he even makes the target bigger. If he had gone back and shared it with his alliance, I think everything probably would have been fine for John. But John's a couple steps behind on what the strategy should be with this.
Yeah, AJ, John really ends up not in Brad's good graces. One, because Candace is so outspoken about Brad on Redemption Island, and then that Brad wanted to make an alliance with all of the guys, and so John just not being so upfront with the idol clue ends up being very sus for Brad and the guys.
And I think he did the worst case scenario, and he did a half measure. He was like, okay, I will give you some parts of the clue, or for some of them he was like, just know I haven't found it yet, but I'm going to find it. Like, you either if you got a hidden media idol, you keep that to yourself, or you share it with your crew. You don't do happy. Like, we don't like wishy-washy over here. And I think him being wishy-washy was what really turned them against him.
A group of people
So I think John royally misplayed this idol clue. I think that's the reason why he got cursed, not because he had the clue, just because he misplayed it.
Yeah. John is going to have some sort of a strategic bond with Rachel. We see them talking, and Mary, this is another thing that is going to make some of the guys suspect of John.
They're like you.
Right.
And some of the women suspect of Rachel.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's also going to have that happen too. And this is where we're going to start seeing Sierra's very keen eye and observation skills here, noting, oh, the guys clearly are together. We're seeing Rachel get in with them. That's not good for us. That means that we might need to throw Rachel under the bus. And I'm sure there were more conversations that went on, kind of targeting John and Rachel alike for having this little, whether it even be alliance or just
He
side
places a lot
relationship.
of faith.
Actually, that's probably might as well stop this because I'm very paying attention.
Perhaps this is a tactical error. Anyway.
Oh, Liz is a bright one. I paid for that law degree myself, thinking it'll probably turn her all fancy. But hell, Harry, she came back a...
Wait, the girl by the whirling, who was keeping an eye on me. Is he talking?
I did that, didn't I? She thinks of herself as a guerrilla fighter. These middle-class kids, books they read are crazy, Harry. How do I know? These guys turn up and start beating people. Tell you what, Harry. You said it, Harry. Hell.
That does sound quite unlikely. Yes.
Oh, they are simply fine young men. All 7 of them.
Young?
Exemplary union. Old Theo used to run them, but things really kicked into gear when Titus took the reins and named the group after himself. Gotta love it. Harry, they're almost all of them great guys, born leaders. Whatever happened, I'm sure they only had the best interests of Revachol in mind. Work with them. Hell, interview them. But don't fight them. They really are just like you. Men who like beer, women, and some order on the streets.
He's betting on them being useless to you.
But of course, it's the least I can do.
You can now go and tell Titus about this.
Also, Harry, here's 5 real. Good boy, a real team player. Now, was it a good tour? Yes, Harry. It's like
A man of the left, so you have to be a social democrat. He's been hurt too much in the past by men who aren't social democrats.
What does your heart tell you? Once again, I require nothing unethical or illegal of you. You bring joy to my... You need to get signatures from Isabel Sadie and Lillian Carter. The cul-de-sac is right past the pawn shop and across the canal. I hear there is some trouble with the water lock, but they should fix it by Wednesday. Once you have the signatures, mail this to 13022. Most certainly, Harry. By all means, Harry.
Okay, so I don't know what I want to do with the point.
You take the legal documents out of the envelope. A 12 to 40 month construct. There is no loophole. The simple truth is, the current residents are going to lose their street access, and for the next 12 to 40 months, their lives will be dominated by constant construction noise right next door. Once the construction starts, it will probably take a few months. Well, you could trick Everard. Get some of the youth said it's going to...
Okay. I've been doing it, run back and forth a billion times here, but we'll back to Titus, and I think we'll end the episode. That'll probably be it for tonight. To be honest, I'm starting to get really tired, so we'll end here, and then we'll play some more tomorrow. Probably. We'll see. Not a guarantee, but I feel like we probably will. These loading screens are so fucking long, though. I would be interested in watching the speedrun though of this game after I finish it. Obviously not now, but okay, like this game can beat in like 35 minutes or so. Okay, that's weird. Last episode uploaded.
Is really someone was. Alright, guys.
This is part 20 of the Let's Play. That's really ridiculous. Come on. Yeah. These loading times are really ridiculous. Oh my fucking god. Anytime now. Come on. Still no. Oh, of course there. So is this still locked? I should pay attention. Imagine he's back up there, that measure head. Alright, we'll end after this load screen. Yeah, okay. That's fucking dumb. Thing that happened is that, so Andrew turned out, like, on the car vote for Australian Power, turned out he had an extra vote. But they just, like, edited it out, and, like, he just put 2 votes on Kara anyway. So it was, like, a complete waste. Right, well, it's here. Next episode, continue on. For now, thanks for watching.